Welcome to GetRoaring. I'm Rory. Fancy meeting you here. Today in our NHL franchise mode with the Stanley Cup champion Hamilton Ogres, we're going to be preparing for the draft. So this episode is going to be a lot of administration because I'm going to be looking through a lot of picks, but I know that the draft is important. So this is the show, and so I can show my methodology of going through the draft interview process as well as choosing players that I'm interested in drafting. So if you're more into trades and things like that, and what happens with the team and stats and all that, this may be very boring. But for those who have a method with the draft or have a way of looking through players, then they may be interested in this in order to, I don't know, compare with what they do or whatever. So I'm gonna start with that. First of all, when we look at what's going on, first start sort of with the draft board. Sometimes I look based on what I have on the draft board and try and find something around that position, mainly so I don't get my hopes up. But the other thing is to focus in. Other times I just look at every player that's available that I'm interested in, and that way I have picks available around that time. So we picked up an extra first-round pick in this season, and we have 2 late firsts. So with 2 late firsts and no seconds, I mean, there's a possibility of moving down. We have a couple fourths, couple fifths, so we're looking for a lot of like later stuff, basically. After the third round, 23rd overall pick, third round, 23rd pick of the third round, and it's going to be 31 teams times 262 plus 23. We're looking at 85th pick, so it gives you those recommendations over on the right there, but you know, it has the rankings are all over the place. So it's like if you get your hopes up for somebody that's just before the available pick, then sometimes they're gone. So it always helps to know which is which. So we have nobody in our watch list yet, but we're gonna look for basically anything around and after the 27th, because I don't think I'm gonna be able to trade up unless I really see somebody that I have to have. So let's start looking at what's available, and then we can always do interviews. We have 3 interviews, but we can use them more to either isolate or expose somebody's stats that looks interesting. So let's go to the draft interviews. Wow, there's a created player that's better than Lafreniere. Wow, okay. Franchise medium. Take a look at this guy. I'm not blown away by the stats there, but the skills look good. Although, what do they got for Lafreniere? He's better than Lafreniere. All A's except for a B in physical, which he's a sniper. Wouldn't it be nice to have those? Like, look at Lafreniere's stats compared to the other guy. Like tons of points. A+ competition in Russia. Man. First overall is going to be a nice pick. Alright. So they got Cole Perfetti. Well, my scouts think he might be a franchise, but I don't think so. So let's go down closer to where we're looking. See, stuff like this I find interesting. Although, I mean, people say when it comes to actual people versus like created players, there's some people tend towards real players, some people tend towards created players. We're looking in this area here. Now my scouts are saying Drysdale may be better than his pick. Have B's and C's. I like skating. Skating is one of the most important things because I figure it's not everything, because you can get players that end up being really good that have low skating rating, and I think that's more accurate in this in this one versus last year. In 19, like if they didn't have skating, they were just terrible. Baron might have a little more, although I don't know his skating as well. Gooley is a big defenseman. Skating is decent. They have him rated. They have him rated 24th. My scouts, and the overall is 29. He's big. Ryan McDonough, 3 years away. It's another thing to sort of look into. Is the NHL ETA is usually a good indicator. See, they have Barron at 2 years, and that's locked in. 6'3" defenseman. Suspect skating, but all this other stuff is better. But his competition is C-, so let's look at Gooley's as well. Okay. Generated player has A, B, with a bunch of C-. He's a left winger. Might be a playmaker. 4 years away, so more of a project. Also, I'm not a big fan of 20-year-olds, although I'll take them. But I prefer 18, 19-year-olds. That way, if they do need time, they got time. It's not like by the time they're 25, you have to make a final decision on them, and they've barely grown. Poirier, Josh Williams. So I think between Barron and Gooley, now this is where we could narrow it down a little bit. 2 years on Barron. Yeah, I think that might be the. I mean, I sort of lean towards Gooley, but Barron might be the better pick there. We have another one right down here, so we're going to be looking for guys down here as well. So let's start taking a look at 31. Poirier we know little about. The question is do we want to know more about him, or do we want to see what else is available? So he's a defenseman, 6 foot, 9 goals, 20 assists, C- level competition in the Q. Josh Williams had D level competition for the Oil Kings, but he looked like he did well. What is his skills like? Skills are kind of all over the place. We don't really know about his skating. Now, this Noel Gunler, we know absolutely what his, well, as absolute as we can for scouting about what his skills are like, and his skating is okay. It's not great. Now these picks are worth spending more time on because normally the first 2 rounds you're gonna get your serious players. McLennan kind of the same as a little lower than Gunler maybe. Dawson Mercer. I think I've had him before and I've picked him before. Perrier. No year there. Lapierre, sorry. Brendan Coe. Like nobody's like, you know, knocking my socks off here. Did anybody play in like A level competition? These guys all look good, and their competition was kind of meh. Okay, don't know anything about him. There we go. Hello. C- competition, but the skills look really good. And we may be able to trade down from him. He's a grinder, but the skills look good. So this is where 1 year ETA. Yeah, I think we found our guy. Okay. So this guy, we have the 31st pick. We can probably trade down and get some more. Oh my goodness, what's going on down here? Is this like a pack of like really good players? It might be. Maybe not that. Maybe not that. Although this is better than what we were seeing up above. Tucker Tynan. Oh boy. Okay. There's a few guys down here. So I like this Pollock. But I mean he's 5'11", okay size, right winger. Grinder. I mean, usually you want your grinders to have some size on them, but I mean he's 18, so maybe he'll gain a little bit more. 17-year-old defenseman. This guy looked good too. Really did. Mark Edward Vlasic. He might be the better pick. I don't know. They're both pretty good, so I may see if I can get more second round stuff. I'm actually more interested in those than I was in like it felt like we just sort of had to select Baron. And he might be good, but we're not really confident in his stuff, and he had C-level competition. Nah, he was okay, we'll leave him there. So might try and either trade up or trade in for some second rounders in the 44 area to pick up these guys. I mean I usually like to have either defensive defensemen or offensive defensemen. Two ways can be kind of funky with depending on the coach. Sip of coffee there. But these guys look good. Now, before I get enamored with too much stuff in the second round, now is the time where we switch modes. Let's look at just pure potential, because beyond the first 2 rounds, we got to see what's available. And it doesn't help anywhere south of that 85th pick, so all of this stuff kind of doesn't matter at this point because we kind of got guys that we want to look for. This is where we start really checking it out. So let's take a look at beyond 85th. 17 years old, got some B's. What's the competition though? 4 years. Competition level C now. Does this go on? So these are maybe elite mediums, like I've had him before. Yeah. Okay, that looks semi-interesting. 107th-ish pick. That looks pretty interesting for what was there. Plus competition, good. B on the physical, 6'5", defenseman. Where he is. Yeah, so this is like one of those guys that sometimes I just look purely for size, and he didn't look too bad, so I think that's like a 7th round there. Drysdale. Now where's he? He's back up 21st. Okay, so we've gone into the next bracket. Let's drop down a bit. Okay, start looking about here. Let's see, where is he? 82nd. CS has him at 88 strength condition. 4 years at 18. Kind of a maybe. Do a maybe on that one. I wish you could rank them or something. That'd be nice. Where you could say like, this is one I really want. This is a like strong pick, and like these are like whatever. You know, I'll pick them if I have a pick around there and I don't see anything else. Because like sometimes I see a person that's like 150th or something, and they look amazing, and you know I get into the draft and then I get excited about what I'm doing, and I forget about the 150th that I really wanted, and then so either I miss it or later on I realize and I have to trade in for that pick anyway because I used a pick to trade up or something. Not seeing anything crazy here. That's okay. Where is he? Charlottetown Islanders. Hundreds overall. E-level competition. B's and C's. 6 foot left wing. Sniper maybe. 4 years. Okay. We can keep going. I don't know. Okay. A+ competition, B's and C's. 3 years. That looks interesting. I'm more interested in this pick than I was this guy. This guy was kind of a maybe. So if I could say, like, I don't know, like the half the eye, or like rank them 1, 2, 3, 4 or something, that'd be really good. Because I don't want to like pick this guy because he has an eye there and then miss this guy later in the round, you know. It's a big center. What's he doing? Looks interesting. 2 years. Okay, I'm gonna remove this guy because like those two showing up are more interesting. There's been some interesting little gems so far. Oh gosh. That's why I always look at the skills. Like sometimes you'll see something see a player that's looks like interesting composition, have really good scoring and all that stuff, but then you look at it, a bunch of D's and E's, and it's like there's nothing behind it, you know. So we move on past the 70. I've had Swamp team. See, those stats again to me are a maybe. But not at 93. I've got guys later that are more interesting at this point. 5th, Jarvis. C-level competition. Good skating. 5 years. So he's a project, 2-way forward. Not really that exciting. Always catches your eye when you see an A. Max size, not great competition. 4 years, 18 years. Still not. Two B's, two B's, 2 C's, but the skating is good. Yeah, that's like a mid-level player. Okay, that's good for a 213. Sometimes you can get diamonds. Right, we've cycled around to something good. That to me, like, that's a heck of a player at 45. Like, that's a steal. Jacob Murray. He was supposed to be really good. Maybe I'm thinking of the forward. Definitely not. 196. C-level competition now. Got more. Couple D's. Got some B's, but 34. I don't know. I saw those two other guys were kind of around the same vein, and I think I'd like rather go with them. Some B's and C's for a 183. For an offensive defenseman, his puck skills are terrible though. He's 17 years old though, I don't know. That might be semi-interesting for a 190 something. Pop off. Looks semi-good. I mean, I'm still not sure about because I might want to go lower down on that. But this looks interesting. Top 4 low. The skating isn't good. 17 years old, 5 years, 6'4". I think I might mark that because that's a low 4. Low top 4. Skating is suspect, but he's 17, so there's plenty of time. That looks semi-interesting as well. 68. Okay, let's keep going down. And then we cycle back down to another tier. Now, I used to just sort of end it here. I used to just say whatever with the top 9s, and especially once I got into the AHL stuff. But your scouts don't always do a thing, so sometimes there's gems to be found in the AHL top 6, whatever, that you aren't quite sure about. See, the skating is suspect here, but there's other things that kind of look good, and for like a 300th pick, sort of if we have picks left, I don't know. That's a maybe. Probably won't end up taking him, but that's okay. Again, that would be nice where it's like I'd rank that like a 5 or something out of, like, it wouldn't be like my highest priority. There's some like interesting stuff going on there. Good shooting, good puck skills. The skating is ugh. C-level competition now. Not at 100. I think I have better stuff down there. That's interesting. Top 9 low, almost guaranteed. The skating is alright though. For like a 300th pick to have C- skating, that's not the craziest. Right. Take a look at this goalie. Not loving the save percentage, but that is interesting. 3 Bs is pretty good. And I mean, they had him as a fringe starter, 4 years. Might be a good project, especially with the level of competition there. Let's keep that in mind. See, like, look at the difference in skills there, eh? I know there's a big difference in draft position, but between those two, but this Thomas, I guess Volk, might turn into something. It's probably pronounced some other way. Correct me if you have an absolute idea. Let's look through some of these. What's the draft position one? 53. I don't know. Skating's okay. Physical 5'9". Twing. I don't know. Nothing special there. Standing out with these guys. And they are bottom 6, so they might fit a role. Like this guy, the skating was a little better, and we know their skating level. Their scouts like really looked into it, so D&E are really like taking a flyer on them. Back to 13, jump up a bit again. Semi-interesting. 70 though. Still trying to keep it above the 85 line just to see what's going on. 19-year-old 6'2". See, that's like, even though they're rated as 7th D, that's pretty interesting for a really late pick. Same thing, except that fella has a little more size, so I'll take that into consideration. A lot of late round stuff. You'll see like some decent evaluations of skill, but then they can't skate. That's another interesting one. Bednar. Okay, so here's where we start to get into the interesting stuff. See, stuff like that. It's a 20-year-old, 3 years. Got some interesting stats. Low level of competition though. Skating is a strength. Oh, so that's kind of interesting. The 3 years is interesting. That puts him at 23. Good stats. This might be a thing, so let's mark him just in case. Let's interview. So what I almost always do is just check it. Does this play the number of years absolute? It was, okay. So we're gonna do playstyle, strength, and weakness. We would know the readiness playstyle. Two-way forward. Let's take a look at strengths and weaknesses. Strengths. Skating. I always like to see that. Whenever I see strength is skating, that's a good sign. So now it's gonna throw me all the way back to the top. That's what it does in life. Now he might have shifted in his, the reason I mark him, it's like he might have shifted in his potential after you interview them. Usually with the number of years, I think that sort of gives a better indicator, but still high AHL top 6 forward. I think he might, so his skating now is D, even though he said that was his best thing. I don't know. I still gotta keep it in there because it's somewhat interesting. This fellow. See, that's also fascinating too. Like a lot of unknowns, but sometimes you find real gems in this area. That's another interesting one. 6'2" center, 3 years, age 19. Competition level D, so kind of interesting as well. There's a lot of kind of interestings in here. 3 years, 19 years old. It's kind of the same boat. There's a lot of guys who are big size, can possibly skate. Doesn't have skating listed as a strength. A on the senses. I can't mark them all, so I don't know. I could, but then it just gets cluttered. He's 19, he's a grinder. 6'2". Quickness is weakness. 6'3". What's this guy? AHL top 6 forward, 2A forward, competition level A, C minus skating, 4 years 19. Seems interesting for a later round, because like if we move down and we grab some more 7ths or 6ths or something, then that's when those guys come in handy. Awesome. So, up a little bit here. Guy seems like a general all around everything. There was better stuff around that range though. Okay. Foot speed is a strength. I find this interesting. He's around one of our picks, so we'll mark him. That is also interesting. Skating is B+. Skating is a strength. Speed is a strength. The left wing, possibly a sniper. Interesting. 199. Foot speed is a strength. Gain looks pretty decent for some good elite speed. That's fascinating just on its own. And there's a lot of like fascinating players down at this side. Not all of them are amazing, but a lot of good skating, that's for sure. I have a feeling I'm gonna have like a glute of potentials around 99 to like 150. Foot speed, elite speed. 4 years 19. 5'11" playmaker. Competition level D. It looks like this is a deep draft. I mean, it could just be my scouts are not completely up on these players and it looks better than it is, but competition level D. Interesting. I feel like there's more that I could mark than I am, but I just want to. I don't want to have like everybody marked. That kind of defeats the purpose. There's a lot of intriguing cases here. 6 feet tall. Elite speed. Defenseman. I'm trying to remember if Gretz has been a player that I saw, or it was just like the name reused. Like in past iterations of it. Because I mean, that does play a factor. If you've seen players that grow to be something significant, then you tend to look for them again or pick them again. Just looking for anything that's like outstanding. There's little bits and pieces here and there. We're gonna get some good players no matter what we do. Because like, we found some gems already, but finding those diamonds, you know. To me, this looks like a diamond. Late round pick, all Bs. Gauthier could be another one. Level of competition. Agostino, I think. Maximus Agostino. We might need more later picks just based on like what's shown up. 6 feet tall, right wing. 19. Interesting. So here in the question mark range, which I can do, which I won't do because it takes forever, but I think I've gotten him before because he's 6'7". But what you can do is, even though it shows all unknowns and everything, you can go through it and say, you know, see if there's any bits or pieces on the player, see what their stats were, you know, like some of them we might have a report on their skills. If you just flip through, again, it takes like a lot of work. See if there's like a timeline on them or anything like that. Most of them no. You can also look at how they've done, level of competition, just to get an idea, and you can always interview them if you find anybody that you're really interested in. But I think we're good with that. So let's sort by who we've got. Let's look at our haul so far. And is there anybody we really need to identify? I think we've already looked at him. I think probably our lower stuff. Let's see, competition. Let's take a look at those that were around 40. Got a lot marked, right? We're not picking all of these, obviously. It was around the 44-45 range. Is there anything we need to know about these guys? Okay. Tucker Tynan was in there as well. I think we should know whether we really should pick this guy or not. So let's see what he is, and I mean we won't have a great idea. The years tell you a lot, I think, based on maturity, but you know, they don't necessarily tell you everything. It's just that gives you a good indicator as to how strong a player they are at that age. Some weaknesses. What's your greatest strength? It's to be shot, so it didn't say skating. Okay, so senses. Play style. Play style. Okay, 2 AD. So it didn't mention skating. Would have preferred that, I think. But I would have preferred a little more on the skating front, but that's okay. So did it help us at all? 2A defenseman. Doesn't have any weaknesses, that's always good. He looks like an enticing pick. So, I mean, we may move the 31st to try and drop down to get the 44th or the 45th. But that'll be... Oh, we have one more interview to do. But I do sometimes, and like, because like, I don't know, I just curious by see what's available in like massive players. One of them we have marked. Van de Leest. I think so. 1,000. Probably not gonna fit the bill. You never know. I mean, let's see what this. Olivko. 20 minutes, 8 goals, 10 assists on D. He's almost certainly like a defensive defenseman. Check him out just cause. Let's do, sorry, just take a look at his profile again. Got nothing. So playstyle, we'll look at playstyle, readiness, and then strengths. Style, playstyle, probably defensive defenseman. Yep. Readiness, probably a what? A lot of learning, okay. Strengths. Skills. Strengths, probably physicality. Oh, skating. Really? Really? A big guy who says, a defensive defenseman who says his skating is good. Well, maybe he thinks he could skate well? I don't know. Anyway, he'll be just a fun pick if we get there. Right. So that'll be all for this one. This is just a draft preview. So, or setting up for the draft. In the next episode, we'll do the actual draft. We'll go through and pick our players. We'll be moving down, making trades, all sorts of stuff. So thank you for joining me. If you like this series, if you like the Hamilton Ogres, please hit that like button. If you want to continue to watch franchise mode with in NHL20 with the Hamilton Ogres, click the subscribe button. Don't forget to hit the notification bell to let you know when new episodes come out. Thank you for your time. Have yourself a good one.